Mark Rogers TV talking some college football as we head out to the Pac-12 with Jeff Nusser from Cougar Center to talk about Washington State. Jeff, this is a first-time appearance. Appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Yeah, so this is a fun football team, obviously, to track because of the head coach and because of the passing game. Those are the two hallmarks of this program and where Mike Leach has brought it. We all know about Luke Falk, obviously a huge plus that he comes back as one of the top passers in the nation. Everybody knows about throwing it like crazy. But what really stands out to me in the improvement of this football team, where you were a few years ago and going like 3-9 to getting to a bowl game, taking on Colorado State as kind of a middling team and now becoming more of a contender in the Pac-12 North, is that the running game, it used to be appalling to look at the rushing statistics a few years ago with guys averaging barely 2 yards a carry and barely attempting to run the ball, to having the type of running game that really causes defense to have to respect the pass and respect both sides of the balance of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, that is a big major difference. And it's really, the improvement there is kind of twofold. Mike Leach likes to joke that when he, arrived in Pullman, they had like 5 offensive linemen or maybe 6, and he talks about, their average weight was 260 pounds. And, it's kind of typical Mike Leach, but it's not that it's kind of stunning, but it's not that much hyperbole. So they invested a ton in the offensive line. They didn't go for a lot of quick fixes. They kind of recruited their type of guys young and have really started to develop those guys. A big example of that is the left guard, Cody O'Connell. Became an All-American. He's they call him the continent on the team, and he is about 6'8", 350. He is a massive human, and had a great year. And he's sort of emblematic of what they've tried to do along the offensive line. So getting big sort of body mover type guys in there. And I know people think typically, it's a passing game. They maybe they recruit lighter guys who are lighter on their feet, but what they kind of do is they recruit these really big guys who can shove people out of the way, but are also, kind of big when it comes to pass blocking. They're hard to get around. They do these really wide splits that Mike Leach is famous for. And so they make it more difficult for people to get around. So these big guys who are sort of road graders. And then the running backs, they've really done a tremendous job recruiting talent there. Jamal Morrow, Gerard Wicks, and James Williams were kind of this 3-headed monster, Wicks being kind of more your prototypical big back. He's kind of a battering ram. And then Morrow is kind of a do-everything kind of guy. He's not overly big. He's only about 5'10", and I think he's maybe like 210 pounds, something like that. So not a real big guy, but certainly really versatile. And then James Williams is really the most explosive athlete in the bunch. He's, I think Jamal Morrow could have, and Gerard Wicks could have pro careers, but James Williams is kind of special. He's his acceleration, his balance, his change of direction. He's the kind of guy that Leach hasn't had since he was probably back at Texas Tech. And when you look back at Texas Tech, he actually ran the ball pretty effectively there. They usually ran for more than 1,000 yards a season. It's an opportunistic running game, so it's sort of like you pass to set up the run. When the defense decides that they're going to stack the box, then you pass. If they decide to back out and try and keep you from throwing deep, that's when you check to a run. And in the first couple of years of the air raid at Wazoo, there really just wasn't that threat to run, so teams could only put 5 guys in the box, really defend the pass, and we still really weren't able to run the ball. So yeah, the improvement there has come in that way, where now you can really gash teams and make them pay if they don't, come up with a defense that at least respects the run. Those 3 guys will really gash you.
Yeah, I don't know if people can appreciate when you look at the numbers and go back to 2012, 2013, and your top backs are averaging 3.5 yards per carry, maybe, and that's pretty abysmal in college football, where guys average 5.5, 6.5 yards per carry, and that's where you are now. And even it speaks to the offensive line improvement, as you mentioned, when Williams, Morrow, and Wicks are at 5'4", 5'7", and 6'4", and then just a couple of years previous, they were at 4 yards per carry or less, 3.8 figure in there too. So that speaks to the offensive line improvement. So a balanced offense gives teams cause to be very concerned and trying to figure out what to do in covering all the facets of the offense with Luke Falk pulling the trigger.